Today's incident will wake up your soul. Please watch the incident till the end. What did a snake do to a girl offering namaz? Nazreen, today we are going to narrate to you such an interesting incident which will refresh your faith. Stay with us to know this sentence in its complete form.
This incident will be narrated to you through me. My name is Aisha. I was born in a Hindu family. My father was a staunch Hindu, whereas my mother belonged to a Sikh family and was a believer of Guru Nanak. Hence, for many years of my life, I could not know who my God is, an animal who is dependent on us for everything, or Baba Guru Nanak who... They used to be in the form of a lifeless statue. On one side, there was my father's God who was a cow, to whom we used to give fodder and water 3 times a day. And then its stinking dung and urine were considered sacred. My father used to serve and take care of the village mother all day long, and he also kept 2 servants with him, whom he used to get his gods served. But despite this, my father's God, which used to be a cow, after a few years, was itself thrown in a godless place where the wild animals would tear apart and eat the mother cow. But she could not even do something to save herself.
It could not even do that. It could neither save itself from dying nor from becoming food for the animals. Even small twigs would not separate from its body as long as there was some flesh left with its bones.
On the other hand, my father, after mourning for 2 to 4 days for the dead cow, would find a new breed of God and bring it that could stay alive for a longer period than this one. And thus, a new cow mother would arrive in our house.
On the other hand, my mother used to cook thousands of things and take them to Guru Nanak and used to offer nirvana to him. Whenever things from there would disappear, my mother would be very happy that Guru Nanak had accepted her evil eye, and now very soon her wish would be fulfilled.
Sometimes those things would lie there like lice, and the street would get spoiled. My mother would become sad thinking that perhaps Baba Guru Nanak was angry with us now. Baba's anger used to trouble Amma. Amma used to leave everything and go to Gosa. Till the time Amma did not understand the reason for Baba's anger, my mother would not do any other work. During all this, I used to be a victim of a lot of confusion. Perhaps I did not understand anything about these gods. Allah wanted to bless me with guidance, so from the very beginning, He had kept me in such a dilemma that I started finding a way out, and I wanted to achieve my goal. To get out of this dilemma, I prayed and meditated a lot with the village mother and Baba Guru Nanak. But none of them could get me out of this dilemma because there was no solution to my dilemma here. Then one day I met Fatima. She belonged to a Muslim family in our neighborhood. My father hated her a lot because she was a Muslim. I never went to her house out of fear of my father. Whenever she used to go to school, we used to meet on the way, and we used to talk for a short while. This continued. One day, Fatima invited me to her house. I got very scared on hearing this because my father hated her a lot. After all, she was a Muslim, so I got scared of going to her house. I said, okay, I will come to your house. The very next day, I started thinking about how to go to her house. I lied to my mother that I was going to my friend Seema's house. My mother told me it was okay. Son, come back quickly. Using the excuse of Seema, I went to Fatima's house. I asked Fatima's mother where Fatima was. She said, son, she is in her room. I moved the curtain of her room a little and saw that she had decorated a part of her room very elegantly and had spread a beautiful carpet on one side of the bed and was busy doing something on it. I called her once or twice, but she neither looked at me nor replied to anything I said. I got very angry at her attitude. I straightened the curtain and came out. I then went out and sat next to Fatima's mother. Her mother asked, son, what is your name and who are you? I said my name is Pooja. I come from the house opposite yours. It has been only a few days since I met your daughter. Fatima asked me to come home. Meanwhile, after some time, Fatima came out of the room and said to me, I am sorry, I could not respond to your voice. I was praying. That is why I did not respond to you. If I had responded to you or looked at you, my namaz would have been broken. I asked her, tell me, what is this namaz? Is there some yoga or something which you were practicing? But you look quite smart and slim to me. What is the need for any yoga or something? What were you doing all this? Namaz is not yoga or practice. Rather, namaz is our worship, just like you worship your gods and do different things to please them. Similarly, we offer namaz to please our God and get his pleasure. Namaz is the essence of our religion. Without it, our religion is incomplete. Every Muslim offers namaz 5 times a day, the performance of which is very important. I kept listening to her talks in the state of a Buddha. As soon as she became silent, and as soon as I came back to my senses, the condition of my heart started changing. I said that you people have also kept your God inside your room, in front of whom you sit and offer namaz? No, we can sit and offer namaz wherever we want because our God is present everywhere. After listening to so much, I got up and came to my house. The whole night I kept thinking that how Fatima offers 5 times namaz. Does she offer it all at once or does she offer it in turns? I should know this. I was feeling very restless with the questions. The next day, I again made an excuse to my mother and said that I was going to my friend Seema's house. My mother said, "It's all right, son, but come back soon." I again went to Fatima's house, and there I saw Fatima's mother. She had completely hidden herself in a curtain, and even her nails were not visible. I asked Fatima, "Where is your mother going wrapped in a cloth like this?" Fatima said, "My mother is going to the market to buy some things." I asked, "But your mother has covered herself with a curtain like this? Why have I hidden it?" Fatima said, "Not only my mother but all of us have been ordered by Allah to observe purda. Whenever Muslim women go out of the house, they should keep themselves covered so that no non-mahram can see them." I started liking Fatima's talks and her prayers a lot. I started getting attracted towards her and I got used to her. I used to go to her house every day by lying. One day when I saw Fatima reading a thick book in her hand, I asked her, "Which book is this that you are reading with so much respect?" Fatima said that this is the Holy Quran, which our Allah revealed to the Prophet, peace be upon him, which we read in the morning and evening. We get peace by reading it. Every wish of our heart is fulfilled. Our morning begins with the recitation of this Holy Quran. We recite the Holy Quran immediately after the morning prayers, and whatever prayer we ask from our Allah is accepted. She listened to Fatima's words very carefully and attentively. She then asked Fatima if I could also read this book. Fatima said, "Yes, why not? You can sit with me and read this book whenever you want." But I don't know how to read it. I don't know what kind of book it was. I had seen that book for the first time in my life. I developed a liking for reading that book after seeing Fatima. I said, "Okay, I will come to your house daily from tomorrow. You teach me to read this book." As soon as I went to her house the next day, I told her with great grief, "Give me that book quickly, I want to read it." Fatima said, "How can I give you that book? There are some etiquettes and respect for reading it. Unless you perform ablution, you cannot touch it because this book is pure, and after being pure, only it can be touched, for which performing wudu is necessary." On hearing the name of wudu, I was surprised. What kind of wudu is done? How to do wudu? I do not know anything. Fatima took water from a vessel and started teaching me the method of wudu. As soon as we completed wudu, Fatima placed the Quran Majid in my hand. As soon as I opened the Quran Majid, I recited Bismillah Rahman Rahim, and as soon as I read it, tears started flowing from my eyes. I felt as if a very heavy burden had been lifted from me. I found relief and solace within myself. As soon as I came home, I threw away all the articles, books, rasal, etc., and kept the Quran Majid hidden in my heart. Because of my interest and passion, I very soon completed the Quran Majid, and I happily became a Muslim by reciting Kalma. I had also learned the method of complete namaz and Quran Majid, but my family members were not aware of this till now. I always had this fear in my heart, that the day my father came to know about it, he would kill me. I used to offer namaz in my own house secretly from my parents. Time kept passing like this. One day at my home, talks about my marriage started. My parents asked me for my consent for marriage. They said that if you like any boy, then tell us, and we will get you married to him. But how could someone explain to them that I had become a Muslim, and hence now I did not have to marry a Hindu, but a Muslim boy? But even though I wanted to, I could not tell anything to my parents because my parents hated Muslims a lot. I could not tell them anything just because of the fear of this hatred. If I had told them, they would have killed me. I was always talking to them.
I kept on praying to Allah, "Oh Allah, whatever decision you have to take in my favor, you will have to take it now." I permitted my parents to get me married wherever they wanted. I had no objection to that. My father arranged my marriage with his friend's son, Raju. Hearing about the marriage, I immediately went to my friend Fatima's house and told her the entire incident. Fatima and her mother explained to me, "Son, don't be worried. When you have accepted Islam, now you do not need to fear anyone except Allah." Fatima's mother gifted me the Quran Majid in a beautiful cover and said, "Son, keep this with you and take it to your house. Whenever you face any trouble, read this, then pray to Allah and Allah will do something good for you. I hid it in the Quran Majid and brought it home with me. After a few days, I got married and left for my husband's house. My husband was a very good person, but he also hated Muslims like my father. Whenever my husband went to work, I used to hide behind him and read the Quran Majid, and I would pray to Allah only this much that, "Oh Allah, may my husband also become a Muslim like me." I read a Quran Majid. That day I told my husband that if I told you something, you would not get angry. He said, "Yes, tell me what is the matter." I said that if both of us, husband and wife, were Muslims, then how would you feel? On hearing this, he became red with anger and said in anger, "If I hear such a thing from your mouth again, then I will pull out your tongue." Although I said this only to test his heart, on hearing his reply, my soul trembled. I sat before Allah and cried the whole night and kept thinking that I do not know whether he will ever become a Muslim or not. Now I started getting scared all the time that whenever my husband comes to know that his wife is a Muslim, then what would be the condition of my husband? Time passed like this. One day her husband came back home early from work, and when he entered the house, he saw that his wife was offering namaz. At first he got very angry on seeing his wife. He felt like burying his wife alive in the ground. Then immediately on seeing his wife, he hid behind the door and kept watching his wife quietly. As soon as his wife completed her namaz and the noise came inside, he felt like seeing his wife like this. He made her say as if he had not seen anything. But after this, he started keeping an eye on his wife to see when and at what time his wife prays so that he could kill her. One day her husband went to the temple of Kali Mata and brought home a thick and black head snake in a box and kept it safely somewhere in the house, hiding it from his wife. As soon as it was night and both the husband and wife slept, it was morning when his wife got up first so that she could pray. She performed ablution and started praying the Fajr prayer. Her husband also got up and started watching her secretly. As soon as his wife went into prostration for prayer, her husband immediately opened the snake box and took out the snake from it and threw it towards his wife. The snake went straight to his wife's feet and slowly wrapped itself around her neck from her feet. But this snake did not harm the woman in any way. Rather, it became a threat to her. It came down from her body and sat in front of her, not saying anything. Seeing this, her husband was very surprised. He started thinking, why is this snake not biting her? It is a very poisonous snake. The work of a snake is to bite. When her husband saw that his wife was not going to die because of the snake bite, he picked up a very big stick and moved towards her to kill her. Just as he was about to hit her on the head with the stick, the snake moved forward and bit her husband on his foot. The snake bit and went away, but her husband died in agony because of the bite of that poisonous snake. His wife said salam and looked around, seeing her husband's dead body. She was in agony seeing this. She started crying loudly and began praying to Allah. While crying, she prayed, "Oh Allah, my test had just begun and you ended it so soon. I was praying to you that my husband should also become a Muslim. You should guide him. I kept praying to you all the time and kept saying this, that you should convert my husband also to Islam, but you took his life." The whole body of her husband had turned blue due to the snake bite. The snake's venom had spread all over his body and he had died. You never let your servants feel dejected. You find a way from there which no one even imagines. O Lord, surely life and death are in your hand. His wife kept weeping before Allah and kept praying for her husband's life. She started saying, "O Allah, you are concerned with your beloved, spare my husband's life. O Allah, you are concerned with Bibi Fatima's sheet, spare my husband's life. You are concerned with the dust of Karbala. You are concerned with the Holy Quran. You are concerned with Surah Yasin. You are concerned with your being the Lord of all kinds. Spare my husband's life. If you have accepted me into your Islam, then accept my husband also into this Islam along with me. O Allah, if you like my act of becoming a Muslim, then for this act you will have to return my husband to me." When she prayed to Allah in this way, Allah liked her prayer, and Allah accepted her prayer. Just then, she heard the sound of someone coming into her room. She started feeling it, and as soon as she raised her head from prostration, the same black snake started drinking her husband's poison. His wife kept watching this scene with her eyes, and as soon as the black snake drank the poison, it went away from there. Her husband slowly opened his eyes and got up and sat. His wife started watching her husband. Seeing him alive, she again fell into prostration and started crying profusely and thanking Allah that Allah had spared her husband's life. Seeing this scene, her husband also immediately fell into prostration with her. This was the power of Allah that for a moment her husband left this world, and in the next moment, her husband came back to life. This was a miracle for her husband. He knew that the one who did this miracle was not some Baba, not some god, not some cow or mother, but the one who did all this was my God, my Allah, who is the master of everything. He is my Allah by whose order everything in the universe moves. He is the master. He changes the direction of the winds. So what was the difficulty for him to change the direction of the snake? Then her husband folded his hands in front of his wife and apologized and said, "Please recite the karma of this God who brought me back to life from the jaws of death, who made me alive in front of my eyes." He performed Jagrata Musa. His wife taught the kalma to her husband and named him Muhammad and said, "My name is Aisha, and from today onwards you will call me Aisha." Allah instructed him, and after this, he announced in front of everyone that he had accepted Islam, and these husbands and wives spent the rest of their lives as Muslims. Subhanallah, undoubtedly, Allah blesses whomever He wishes with guidance and takes away guidance from whomever He wishes. Certainly, whoever grants his Lord the ability to have complete faith in Allah and to avoid sins, may Allah also grant us the ability to offer 5 times prayers and read the Holy Quran. Ameen. Ya Rabbul Alameen. Dear friends, another surprising story. Today we are going to tell you about a true and exemplary incident which happened with an innocent girl. The witness of this incident was a mother. When an unfortunate father married his daughter, then what a punishment Allah descended on this cruel man. Listen to this incident holding your heart. This is a hair-raising incident. Nazreen, a father, is very close to his daughter, everyone knows this. A father is the protector of his daughter, but some such unfortunate fathers do not respect even their daughter. This is not a rote story, but a true incident, a mother while narrating this incident. Says that our family was prosperous in the country of Sham. My parents married me in a good family. My husband left this world in a car accident. My parents had also died. I was completely helpless. I was a burden on my brothers. I also had a daughter. My brothers and sisters-in-law together took care of me. He took money from a drunkard and fixed my relationship with him. That is, he sold me to him. But I still went with this man with patience and gratitude. He was a man much older than me. I thought that I would get support and my daughter's life would also improve. There was a small house in which we, husband and wife, and our only daughter used to live. Initially, he used to consider my daughter as his daughter because my daughter had not seen her father since she was born. Ever since she gained consciousness, she started calling him her father. When I was pregnant, I used to pray a lot and lived with a lot of patience and gratitude. Therefore, my daughter also had all those qualities. She was also a worshipper like me. My daughter never took a step towards sin. Rather, she was an obedient daughter. My husband and my daughter's father were not a good person. He was a drunkard, a barbarian, and a wicked person. Whenever he came home, he would be drunk and would sometimes touch my daughter. Sometimes he would beat me up, and sometimes he would beat me up. My daughter was very patient and kind. She would just pray to Allah, "Oh Allah, please guide my father." She would mind her own business. I was feeding myself and my daughter by washing utensils in other people's houses, because my husband neither did any work, nor did he take any responsibility for the house. He did not earn. My daughter would look after the house all day, and I would do all the work in other people's houses. But the bad thing in this was that whatever I would earn and bring home, my alcoholic husband would snatch it from me. He would say that I have a right over this. You go and earn and bring this. This is your job. My daughter would keep working at home. He would keep staring at my daughter. He was 70 years old, but would look at his daughter with dirty eyes. She was very beautiful, but was modest and chaste. Neither did she go out of the house, nor did she talk to anyone while standing at the door. She was a pious servant of Allah who would mind her own business. Her father looked at her as if he would eat her. When she was afraid of her father's evil eyes, she would fall into prostration and pray to Allah, "Oh Allah, protect me and I make you a witness." I used to stay out of the house all day and clean people's utensils. I used to come home and fall asleep tired. My husband used to stay out of the house all day, drink alcohol and gamble. Then when he came home, he would order his daughter to give him food. The poor girl would be sleeping tired of the day, but he would kick her and make her do his work. When he would eat and drink, he would not make his daughter massage his feet because she thought that there was no one else in front of her but her real father. She knew the status of her father, and that is why she would serve him by bowing her head. But he was not her father. He was a man with evil thoughts. He was such a person. I used to pray to Allah Ta'ala that, "Oh Allah, protect my daughter." Once I had gone to work and was sitting behind the table. My husband came home with one of his debauched and spoiled alcoholic friends. As soon as he arrived, he called out to my daughter. My daughter did not want to come in front of this friend, but he was the father and kept calling her repeatedly. When she did not come, he got up, and while screaming and shouting, he beat her, dragged her, and angrily brought her in front of this friend. That friend was also looking at her with a devilish laugh. Then the father said, "Give us food, my innocent daughter." When the daughter started cooking, this lecherous friend of my husband started staring at my daughter and said, "Your daughter is very beautiful and pretty. Where did you hide this diamond?" Seeing this, I got an idea. Why didn't you show it to me before? Then he said that this should not be shown in front of anyone, but you are my friend. That's why I brought it here. His devilish friend said to my husband, "Look, a thought is coming to my mind. Look, your wife has grown old now. She has become old and you are a strong man. You also look good. Why do you waste your youth like this? If you want to live peacefully at home, then why don't you make your daughter your wife? When there is a young wife at home, then the heart of the man remains at home. Enjoy a lot. If you have to go out, then just meet me or meet any other friend of yours and come home, and your young wife will be present at home to serve you." He said, "But she is my daughter. How can I marry her? And then what will my wife say?" But the companionship of a person is like that of the devil. The companion of the devil is also a devil. When the devil's friend put this dirty thought in his mind, then my husband was already misguided. He did not say that I am her husband. I am her father. This cannot be possible. But he was drunk, and anyway, a person in his senses cannot do such things. The name of his young wife made him salivate, and he said, "You are right. Why should I roam around outside and waste my youth by staying outside when a beautiful angel is present in the house itself, and even the people of the neighborhood will not be able to do anything?" Now he had gone astray and started saying to his friend that, "Tell me, how can this happen, and how can I marry her?" Then he said, "Your wife is not at home anyway. I will just bring the Qazi, and you tell this Qazi that she is an orphan girl. She is helpless. She belonged to some friend, and if he dies, I am marrying her to give me support. No one here knows your daughter anyway." After this, he started eating food, but my daughter had heard all this. Hearing this, the poor girl started trembling, and when I came back home after work, she said that, "Mother, my father intends to do something wrong with me. He is going to do something wrong. Save me." Saying this, she told me everything. I was already tired, and then the mistress scolded me a lot. I was exhausted, and it is the principle of us parents that we do not listen to our children. Then I also listened to her carelessly and explained to her that he was a drunkard. He must have come after drinking and must be talking nonsense. Do not pay much attention to his words. Do not worry, he is your father. He cannot stoop so low that he forgets all his limits. I made my daughter sleep after convincing her, and I believed this child of the devil. The next day when I was going home from work, when she came out, her friend convinced the Qazi and brought her to my house. Mulvi said that the age of this girl is very young. Why are you marrying her? You can keep her as your daughter. If she is your friend's daughter and also an orphan, then make her your daughter and place a fatherly hand on her head with love. My husband, her animal friend, said that, "Mulvi, you mind your own business, get the nikah done and go from here. And anyway, we are giving you money for her. Money for..." Then after this, her father came to my daughter and said that it was your marriage. She said, "Abba, don't do this. Have some mercy. You are going to commit a serious crime." But her father took her to the Qazi, beating her, and the earth shook, and the sky trembled, seeing such brutality that when a father did not listen to his daughter and married her, Astaghfirullah, there was no one to stop this tyrant. The market for cruelty was hot. A father married his daughter. The mother also did not listen to the plea of the helpless daughter. The daughter kept pleading, "Abba, don't do it." Where was the father? He was a devil. Before I came, the Qazi had performed the nikah. That Qazi was very sad. He did not want that he should perform the nikah with him. That devil then laughingly caught my daughter's arm and dragged her into the room and crossed all limits. Maybe my daughter's fate was bad. When I entered the house, my daughter was screaming. Her voice was coming out. My steps froze right there. My tongue was shut. I stood like a stone. My husband came out of the room after a while. There was a mean smile on his face. He said, "Listen to one thing carefully. I am married to your daughter, and she is no longer my daughter but my wife. If you want to stay here, then be decent and keep working the way you always do. If you say anything about him or me, then remember I will divorce you." I was not afraid of divorce, but he said that apart from divorce, "I will throw you out of here in such a way that no one will even know whether the earth has swallowed you or the sky has swallowed you." He said, "Don't say anything about me and my wife." After this, he went into the room. He did not let my daughter come in front of me for 2 days. I did not know in what condition she was. This man used his rights after marrying her. This was not his right, because he was her father. How did he become her husband? After this, when I would go to him, he would beat me a lot and say, "Get out of here, or else I will kill you too." I cannot tell how much I tried to get my daughter out of his clutches. I was not even able to go to work, but he would push me out of the house, and after that, he would close the door. I kept knocking on the doorbell, but he would not let me in the house. 2 days passed by. My innocent little daughter was in the captivity of a tyrant, and then one day when I, a helpless mother, entered the house, I heard my daughter screaming. But now a lot was going on in her life. It seemed as if she was calling Allah in agony, saying, "O Lord of the universe, you are seeing that the protector of my honor has robbed my honor. The one whom you had made for me to protect my honor, he has ruined my world. He turned out to be the robber of my honor." When I did not see my real father, I considered him as my father. Since I have gained consciousness, I have considered him as my father. O Lord of the world, why did the earthquake not come? Why did your earth not split today? The captivity was robbed. I make you a witness, and today curse this unfortunate father that inflicts such a punishment on my father that he dies in agony. This is yours. He was a disobedient man who used to do haram karma, but today he has lost the right to be a Muslim by marrying his daughter. O Allah, you are my guarantor, be a witness. The doors and walls of my house were shaking with the cries of my oppressed daughter. I was listening to everything. It was as if someone had turned me into stone. Then I regained consciousness and came screaming into the room. By then, my beloved, my life, my innocent child had left this world. Her father's sin had consumed him. I looked at this devil with hatred who was looking at me. He was not saying anything. He had shown his work. He had shown his brutality. Now what could I do? For the sake of the pleasure of a few moments and enjoyment of a few moments, he had ruined everything for me. I caught his collar and said, "You cruel man, savage man, what have you done?" I pushed him and brought him near the dead body of my daughter, and pushed him at her feet because my daughter was no longer in this world, and my husband was drowned in intoxication. It had happened. He had taken out his brutality, his lust too. I was going crazy. I picked up my daughter in my hands and brought her out. With what heart I arranged for my daughter's shroud and burial, only a mother's heart knows. When she was being buried, people told me that your daughter's face was shining like the moon. She was going on the way to heaven. The fragrance of flowers of some heaven was coming from her grave. The people there told me that your daughter was very pure. I felt like strangling this man to death. I came back home and today I wanted to end all relations with this drunkard, and as soon as I came home and opened the door of his room, I lost my senses. What do I see? He had become a lesson. I saw the scene. He was not a human. He had taken the shape of a dog. The upper part of his body was of a dog, and the lower part of a human. He started looking at me. How could I help him now? Nature's punishment had already come upon him. He wanted to speak but was unable to speak because my pious daughter had made Allah a witness in her last moments. So how could nature deny his words? My chaste and modest daughter has gone to heaven, and his father was now facing punishment in this world itself. His lower part had started to become weak. He had become handicapped and could not even move from the place where he was sitting. The place where my daughter died, where he had sold her honor. He was sitting there from that day onwards and was unable to even move. His lower part had turned into stone, and the upper part had the shape of a dog. Then justice was done, and my daughter got justice, but the way she left this world, I still cannot tolerate this. My heart cries tears of blood, and I am counting the days to see what happens next. That day I will go and meet my daughter, how a man, a father, ruined my daughter's life. No doubt if a man sins, he gets the punishment for his sin in this world itself, but man does not understand. And may Allah save us all from such brutality and make us true and firm Muslims. Ameen Ya Rabbul Alameen. Dear friends, with the intention of goodness and reward, please share this incident with other people as well. Please subscribe to our channel and like the video.